Before I take this Bushman to the post office to mail to the captain, I'd like to use it. Where's the ferrocerium rod? Oh. I would like to use it to do a little before and after. It's a slightly different blade, but for the purposes of the exercise, it's going to be absolutely fine because, well, kinda, yeah, because the area that we're looking at is all of this here, which is pretty much the same. A little different, maybe. So you can imagine that this area here is a little, creates a little hotspot there. So it got peened down in this instance. It got ground out and peened down. You can see the carbide hammer marks there. So I kind of shaped everything, which I believe actually incidentally put a bit of kick in my blade, but I can figure that out again with the same aforementioned carbide hammer. And then there was an issue here, which was actually much more severe on the Bowie edition, I guess you would say. But in principle, you kind of have these choils here. And actually, funnily, on this one, it's not really symmetrical. Whereas on this one, it was pretty much. And so this doesn't help me that much to make my point. But if a finger choil and a thumb choil are directly opposite each other, which they still nearly are here, to my mind, that doesn't work like that. That is a very cramped kind of pinch grip. So then you would be putting your thumb here. And actually, again, on this one, it's not nearly as bad because it's flat. So ergonomically, it makes sense. Maybe this is why CS was selling out the Bowie at a lower price than the Bushman, because maybe people identified this ergonomic issue. Anyway, I came up because you can imagine that this choil here was matched right here, which would then have you putting your thumb here, which there was an angle here with with this twist. And so all of that was very uncomfortable on the thumb. It's not very comfortable on this one, but it really is a lot better, actually, I will say, than on the Bowie. So anyway, this gap here, which was a lot bigger and more kind of problematic, I guess I would now conclude, I've just filled it in with this JB Weld steel putty epoxy. It's pretty much hard now, but I kept the gloves on because I really hate getting epoxy on my fingers if I can help it. It says vibration there because I wrote energy, frequency, vibration for a thumbnail photo that I didn't like. And then later I sanded a bit on the blade or ground it with a stone, and the energy and frequency came off. But the vibration's still there in the hollow grind. And I can kind of concluded from that, well, energy and frequency are vibration, right? Isn't that like three words for the same thing at the end of the day? So there you go, there's a tangent. And so this won't be complete until I have done an epoxy twine wrap. And so here's another thing that I was considering as well. I could have used this material here to make the whole thing symmetrical, because otherwise there's a well here. And I did bring the wood all the way up here, not just for strength, but because I wanted to be able to fill this gap in easily. And so one way to fill the gap would be using this, and then you could build it up, and it would have a symmetrical profile. However, this well here, I found actually it is kind of ergonomic, Your finger curls around here, and your thumb can kind of sit in there. It's not all the way there yet. It wants to be filled in. But anyway, I concluded I wasn't going to make it symmetrical. And that what I would do is when I glue this on, I'll fill this up as much as possible with epoxy so that it's all solid in there. And then when I do the wrap will be nice and thick and cover all that. That's why I cut ground in this indentation here, and this one here, and this incidentally is ground down as well. So I did weaken the structure somewhat by grinding in a choil here. I just didn't think it would be too much of a significant weakness because there's still quite a lot of width here. And so, yeah, that means that, you know, if I'm using this finger choil here, then the thumb's on this modified area, and that feels very comfortable now. And if I choke up even more, then I'll have a sort of a choil here, which will be, which will have a little bit of the thing there, but the wrap, but will mostly be now on the metal, on the front and back, and that also feels pretty comfortable. So as I say, it kind of turned into a study in ergonomics, and I've been taking my time over the whole thing, and it took me ages to get around to buying this steel putty that I knew I wanted. Otherwise, the solution would be to put a tremendous amount of wrap and then carve in down here. And a problem with that is remembering exactly how far to carve in before I actually hit the metal. Although if you hit the metal, then it would be easy to fill. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out a reasonably efficient way to get this to where I want. And so I just give it a little bit of time from time to time. And probably within the next couple of days, the wrap will go on. And within a week, it'll be pretty much finished in how I want it. And then I'll be able to go out and make a video where I try throwing my 3 different spears that I made into a punky dead pine tree.